was hard work. It's day 2, and we still have got some sod to remove. What we want to do is to do everything by hand first. I really feel there's a lot of value in learning how to do a job with, very rudimentary tools. And I mean, yeah, I got a wheelbarrow and pitchforks, and these are all, tools of implements of mass destruction, right? But they're still really basic compared to maybe using a tiller and just going through a different process. So the point is really just to understand what it takes to create what we're doing here with bare minimum resources, and maybe get an idea of what kind of time frame that takes. So that's kind of why I did that today. You can see behind me, it doesn't look like much, but I'd imagine there's over 1,000 pounds worth of organic matter behind me. This can potentially become a really good compost pit. It's away from the property, it's in a nice shade, so I feel like this is going to be a good place. Now that will take at least a year, maybe 2 years to break down. And I kind of stacked some branches at the bottom, then I had layers of sod, put some more branches, always watering in between layers to just provide that moisture that your compost pile is going to need. And over the course of time, I'll turn it maybe 2 or 3 times this year. You could put a tarp over that to really speed up the process. And then, being that this is a topsoil, a lot of topsoil included, this is really, really valuable soil behind me. When you get deeper than the 3 inches, then you can hit clay, or you can hit a lot of sand or very rocky soil. And so thankfully it seems like that this is going to be pretty good. So step 2 basically is clearing out the sod today and starting a compost pile for the farm. That's day 2. I don't know, what else do I need to talk about? The next stage is now some tilling, and I'm gonna just kind of decide if I'm just gonna till the whole 20 by 20 or make my rows and then till that. So we'll see what I decide. So today what I'm going to be doing on day 3 is basically going to go out and till all this, and you can do that in many different ways. But what I'll be doing is I'll be going kind of like old school. You've got like the handle of an axe. You do have somewhat of an axe, but we're just going to turn the soil and see what's underneath. Yeah, you can get machines that can just go right in there like a rototiller and clear that out in probably a half hour's time. I might have the ability to have technology that can speed up the process, but I may lose in the connection of what I'm doing. I may lose in myself in productivity versus looking at this as a meditative experience. Do I have that yet? I'm not sure yet, but I definitely believe that that's a debate worth having. Well, that was a little easier said than done, I think. So yeah, that was a workout. I've never really done this before, so I started off doing a technique, and then about a third way through, I kind of changed up my style and try to use the tool maybe a little bit more as it was meant to. And then about 3/4 of the way, I started getting tired, and so then I started to tinker around with the technique again, and I was kind of like dragging it a little bit more, which seemed to do some good, and seemed like it was a little easier, but could be I was just using my arms too much at that point, not so much maybe the weight of the axe. And then that little tiny section at the end, really I was just throwing any kind of technique based off of what muscles weren't fatigued yet. you know, I didn't really take any breaks, so really all you're seeing is pretty much a straight through shot. So, you know, that's a good indication of what it takes to kind of break up about 3 to 4 inches of soil. Soil is something that takes years to develop. So the more you work it, the better the soil can be. So long as you're rotating crops, you're putting the nutrients back into the ground, your produce is actually regenerating the earth versus extracting nutrients. You know, I'm not the expert on you know, what is the most ideal conditions, but really you have to deal with what you have, you know, to begin with, and then you start to tinker and culture the soil that you have. You know, I'm not going to go through debating on what's the best policies and what's the best procedures, but I'll just let you know that there's some people who are in favor of tilling and those people who are not. But as far as I've heard, collectively, when you like break ground for the first time, you do want to, you know, just loosen up the soil, and that is going to be a benefit for the produce and the seeds that you're going to be laying down. You also have this opportunity to, you know, prepare your soil, and that really is important to know whether or not you're going to be doing annual crops or perennial crops. So something to consider when you're doing your urban farm. What I'm going to do now, and kind of like designing out our beds, and right offhand I just don't remember how many I'm going to be doing. I'm also going to go back on over and make kind of just like a little bit more of a leveled soil base, because right now it's still in the kind of a little bit larger clumps, which is kind of what I was seeing with the axe, which is okay. It's kind of like a first time till. That's usually what always happens. So now we break it down. I'm gonna just use like a broad rake to do that. Super excited about that. That shouldn't be too long. And then I'm gonna incorporate compost, and then I'm gonna incorporate straw. I'm gonna put some, you know, different types of organic fertilizer over the course of time as well. And I think the soil is going to be just fantastic. Even this year, I think it's going to be great. No rocks. I didn't get any roots action inside there. I didn't see too many worms though. So as far as like the organic level, or not the organic, but as far as like our symbiotic relationship that's going on inside the soil, there's still some work that needs to be done there. I don't think I have anything further to go on that. Just got to get back to work. Alrighty, see you. Yeah, you can kind of follow along on Facebook, Peter Eric, Eat with Pete. My personal page, a place where you can find out kind of the updates of the farm. You know, today was a really great day. You know, when you're able to see the chunk of land that you're going to work on, it's a great feeling. And then also to know that the soil is really fertile. That's always a plus. So excited about the progress today, and yeah, I'll call that a wrap. All right, we'll see you soon.